Welcome to Truck You Podcast. My name is Sebastian. Today's guest is Sam from Truck It Prail. Sam moved from the UK to Australia, and he shares his story about all the decisions and why they moved and how trucking in Australia and UK compares to each other. So let's dive right into it.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Another day in the life of a trucker down under.
All right, Sam, thank you for being here. I appreciate your time. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Do a quick intro. What do you do and where you at?
All right. So, obviously, my name is Sam. I'm a trucker originally from the UK. I was just based outside of London, just east of London, and basically had enough of truck driving in the UK. And me and the missus decided to pack our bags and move to Australia. And now, basically trucking here in Australia.
Okay, you also have a channel, right? You run a channel. Can you share what your channel is?
I've got a YouTube channel. It's called Truck It Prowl. It's just basically, it's been a vlog of basically my career from the UK right up to the moving process of moving to Australia, and now obviously back into trucking again in Australia. So it's been a journey.
So and we'll dig into that. I want to start with the basics. Can you tell me how long have you been in the UK? How long have you been driving in UK first?
So I was driving for about 7 years, I believe, in the UK as a class one, which is a semi-driver in the UK. I did that, did all different types of things, tankers, flatbeds, curtain sides, you name it, and mostly in London as well. So in very tight spaces and shitty conditions.
Oh, wow. So, okay, did you ever drive in the main European, like other countries? Did you go outside of UK?
No, it's one thing I didn't actually get to experience. I never actually did. Outside it was just day work mostly that I did in the UK. Unfortunately, it's one of my regrets that I didn't ever get to go into
Which maybe
Europe and do it.
maybe that's a good thing. Who knows?
Well, yeah.
You know, I mean, you can always do that, but from what I'm hearing from some of my Polish trucking companies, it's quite a challenge too. But let me just dig into a little bit. Why did you decide to do that move from UK to Australia to drive trucks there?
So there's many factors. Obviously, if anyone knows what's going on with the UK right now,
You mean politically?
Yeah, I don't like to get
how bad it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like to get into politics because it's a slippery slope. But yeah, the economy, just everything just seems to be on a downward spiral. And basically, I just thought I wanted a better life for my children. That was the main reason. So yeah, Mrs. is a teacher, found her way in quite easy as a teacher. So yeah, got over here on her visa, and here I am trucking.
How was that process? How long did it take you for anybody to be interested in doing that move? How, even from the US, maybe the process obviously would be different from here, but from UK, how long did it take you to actually get that thing done so you could pick up and go? How long was that whole process?
I think it was quite quick for us because the Mrs. job is on a shortage list. Her specialising in special needs, and we're in like a regional area, so kind of I call it sort of country. But if you talk to anyone around here, this is quite close to the city in terms of how big Australia is. Because this is the thing that people don't realise. Like Australia, just where we are, is 10 times the size of the UK, just in our state, let alone the actual entirety of Australia. But yeah, it took about 6 months from start to finish of her applying and getting the ball rolling. But because obviously I say they were quite desperate for teachers, it made it a lot easier. I had a friend who was a truck driver that came out here before me. He was the one that sort of tested the water, if you like, in the same area. And it took him about a year and a half. And he went through a special kind of visa. It's called a Dharma visa, Freight 2. And it basically up to the age of, I think they put it up now, but it was up to the age of 45. You could apply for regional areas as a truck driver, and you just basically have to find a company that will sponsor you. And that's the really hard part, is finding somebody that will give you that sponsorship.
Is the job market similar to UK? Is it hard to find a job from what your experience?
I get mixed things like over here where I am, like I didn't struggle at all. When I was looking for a job, I literally walked into two places and got offered both jobs. But like I say, it's a regional area, so they don't really have much of a choice of drivers. Whereas if you suppose you're in the city like Perth, probably might be a little bit harder. But yeah, I think there's a massive shortage generally across the board in UK, Australia, just worldwide it seems.
Interesting. So tell me about a little bit about the differences. I wanted to dig in to see what have you noticed? You've mentioned in one of your videos that Australian trucking is at another level. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, so obviously in the UK, you're just driving a semi, and that's it. It gets no bigger than that because the roads are not designed for anything bigger than that. Whereas here, I have an MC license, which is multi-combination, which means I can drive road trains. If I was to go up into the mines up north, I could have four trailers on, and that could be up to 200 tons of iron ore or whatever it may be. And so, yeah, it's just at the moment I'm doing like what they call a B double, which is like a smaller front trailer and a bigger back trailer. So it's kind of like a road train, but yeah, it's still compared to what I was doing in the UK, it seems just mad, especially like when you're going into the city, you're just thinking, oh, how am I going to maneuver this around these streets? But the roads here are designed for it.
So roads would be one. Let me dig into that testing real quick. You had to do all the testing from scratch. Did they look at your license from UK and did you have it easier or is it just pure from scratch?
So if you have over a year's experience, I don't know if it's all of Europe, but I know obviously for the UK, as long as you have a year's semi experience, you can go straight for your MC multi combination. So basically, I paid, I think it was $3,200. That was a 2 day test. I went in, done a theory test, and then the next day, or actually on the same day, went out, done a little bit of driving around the streets, and then the next day go in and do an actual test. It's all recorded, and yeah, basically it's testing to see if you're up to scratch. It was quite intense, to be fair.
I was
The
going to ask you, is it
UK,
more intenser than the UK? Like, was the process
yeah,
different?
I was quite surprised by that because with the UK, they're very like red tape over everything, and it's always more paperwork and everything like that. But when it came to this, I suppose because you are dealing with such bigger trucks, and it's more responsibility, I suppose. There's so much more that could go wrong. They were very thorough. There was like certain things like you couldn't miss. Like if you miss them, it's an automatic foul. And the instructor was like, "I'm going to tell you this as best as I can, but I'm only going to tell you so many times. And if I feel that you're not picking it up, then I'm not passing you. It's as simple as that. You need to be on this. You need to be at a level that I deem fit because it's going to come back on me if you're not." So
Yeah.
I respected that.
Yeah, 100%. That's great. That's great. What about some other differences? Is there anything else? So roads would be one. What about like regulations and bureaucracy, or maybe have you noticed any like the differences there?
Yeah. So in Europe, they have like a, it's like a, I've got it with me. Uh, I've got like a, no, I don't have it on me. So basically, you have like a debit card, credit card, which you just literally slot into the top of your truck, and it records everything digitally. You can't get away with anything.
Funky
It's all
business as far as
recorded.
driving. Yeah, it's the time control, which here in US it's hours of service, which is purely just an application that you run. Although you cannot edit drive time. So the UK system, European system is that I forgot what it's called too. It's like a time card or something, right? You put it in and then
It's
that
got a
only
tachograph.
works. Yeah, techno. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, so sorry. What is so how is that in Australia then?
So it's very different here in Western Australia. The states vary. So over east, you have to have a logbook and you have to basically write the ins and outs of a duck's ass of literally everything that you do, which I think is similar to the US, if I'm not
Paper
wrong. I
logbook?
don't.
Were
Yeah.
you using a paper logbook? Yeah. So US, we used to do it. Now you can only do it if you have a truck older than 2000. So
Right.
if it's above 2000, if you're in a truck that's newer than 2000, then you have to do electronic log. But everything else before 2000, you can do a paper log still. But it's very, I mean, the guys that drive classic trucks and older trucks probably still do it, but it's been phased out for years now.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, over in Western Australia, it's a similar thing. It's paper. It's just not quite as strict. You don't have to put down like everything you've done. You just put in a line for when you've been driving, take your break. A line for when you're driving, take your break. It's a bit more relaxed in that sort of aspect. But like I say, if you do end up going interstate, then you have to be on both logbooks. So it does get a bit complicated.
It
Not had
is.
the experience of doing that yet.
Yeah, but what is the limit? So what's the limit for you to drive in a day?
So if you've not had your fatigue management, so there's like an extra sort of class, if you like, you can only do 12 hours. But if you've had your fatigue management, it's up to 17 hours.
What? You can drive for 17 hours?
Well, it's work for 17 hours.
Oh,
So
work, yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Because here in the US, it's split to 11 and 4. So 11 of driving and 14 of duty status.
yeah, I think
So,
it's a similar sort of thing. Yeah,
okay.
you're
So
testing me
what? Yeah, I know. I didn't,
now.
I mean, I'm just curious. I'm just digging in to see how the rules work because I'm assuming, yeah, because then I think you literally can only, I talked to Trucking with CJ some time ago and and I completely forget what, I think it was 8 hours that there's a limit because here we have the 8, you have to take a 30-minute break and then you can go up to 11 and then that's it per day.
Yeah, so here with the breaks, it's 5 hours, and then you have to have a half an hour break. Well, they say 20 minutes, but they say take half hour to be on the safe side, and yeah, then carry on. Another 5 hours, half hour break. So
Okay. And so you can on a paper log, I mean here it was very relaxed as well, but then you could also pull off a 15-hour, 16-hour driving day because you could just have 2 logbooks. Is this something that you've experienced over there? I'm not asking you if you did if you did that, but do you feel like there is a culture of kind of fudging the driving hours?
I think if you're like, it would be hard for me to do that because I'm working for a company that has, as well as the paper that log, they also have like a digital thing in the
GPS
cab.
on it. Yeah, so they
So
monitor it,
yeah,
right?
so you have to log in and you have to put your brakes down on there and everything. So it's all GPS, like it says. Yeah. If you're an owner driver, yeah, there probably are ways around it, I guess.
Okay. What about the money difference as far as driver pay?
So I was looking into it actually before I came on here to what's the difference between the US and Australia. So it's fairly similar when you do the conversion. It's just we have a better base rate here in Australia, but you get more volume in the US. So you would probably earn a bit more in the US than you would in Australia, if that makes sense. Here you're doing more miles than actual stops, if that makes sense.
And is it based on mileage? How's the pay? What's the pay based on?
That can vary as well. Like my job is an hourly rate. But there's also subcontractors that are paid by the kilometer. So yeah, will vary.
Yeah, because US is pretty common to do, especially continental like interstate freight. It's mileage based, and you have obviously other additional things on top of it. But that's interesting that you're on an hourly because you do leave. How long do you stay out usually for?
So I'm doing night shifts at the moment. So I'll usually start around 3 in the afternoon, and then I'll probably finish anywhere between midnight and 2 a.m. And then I'll sleep in my cab in Perth, usually 7 hours off, and then head back in the morning, which is about 4 hours back from Perth. So yeah.
Okay, so you're home a lot then, right? You don't stay out for a week or.
No, so at the moment, I'm doing 3 nights. So it works out like I'm working 6 days, but I'm only actually out in the cab 3 nights.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it's pretty good. Like I'm literally doing 3 nights a week, and I'm getting pretty much double the wage that I was getting in the UK for doing 5 days.
Oh, wow, no
And
way. That big of a
that's
difference, huh?
yeah, the UK, like the wages, you're looking about, when I left, we're looking almost 2 years ago now, it was about £40,000. So I don't know what
A
that would work
year,
out in.
40,000
Yeah,
40,000 pounds a year.
£40,000
Okay.
a year. But in
So,
US. probably 70, maybe 60.
Yes, US is about 70, 75. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but here you, you can easily do $100,000. So the good way to work it out from the UK to Australia is it's literally £1 is $2. So it's just double. So whatever you're earning.
But
I'm saying on 100,000, for example, which would have been
50.
50,000 in the
Yeah.
UK. Yeah.
And does your
But
dollar
yeah.
go? Is the cost of living is probably cheaper, right? So your dollar goes further than that.
Yeah, so there's this massive myth in the UK that the cost of living in Australia is so much more than the UK. And I don't know whether that used to be true, but with what's happening in the UK, like the energy bills and everything that's just shot through the roof, I found that we have such more spending power here than we ever did in.
That's interesting because I used to hear from my European friends that run trucking there that I mean drivers in general that UK was always the place to be driving trucks, and if you were going to be a truck driver, Poland was always behind as far as salaries,
Yeah.
and then a lot of the Polish drivers wanted to go drive for UK companies because so you're saying it actually dropped. It's been dropping and it's just a lot
It,
less.
yeah, it's not dropped in terms of the wage hasn't gone down. It's just
It's just
stagnated, but the cost of living has just skyrocketed.
yeah,
So
yeah.
in terms of that yeah,
That's
it's
interesting.
ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What about facilities and like truck stops and things? Like, what's your experience with that?
Yet, so anyone that's a British truck driver definitely back me up on this. I don't think there'll be many that would say that the UK truck stops are any good. They are all filthy. The toilets are disgusting. Like you'd be lucky if there's not shit up the walls. To be fair, they are absolutely minging. And here I go into the services on, or as we call them here, the servos on the highway, and they have their own little lounges where it's just truck drivers only. You've got your own toilets, your own showers. It's just all separate from the public, and it feels like you're appreciated. Whereas in the UK, it's just like use that little rubbish thing over there, peasant.
That's good because US is pretty good with facilities. I mean, some of them that the cleanliness and like that's debatable, but in general, we have pretty good networks and massive facilities. If you've seen an
Yeah.
Iowa 80 truck stop, I mean, it's just like a full on city almost, right? But
Yeah, I
yeah,
did. I did a video about the truck lounge, and I did get a few Americans messaging, thinking, "Oh, if you're impressed by that, you should see some of ours." And I was like, "Yeah, fair play."
yeah, yeah. And have you ever been to this side of the world as far as North America?
I've been to New York. It was a holiday, and I've been to Canada. We stayed up in Banff, Calgary. That was really my only experience with American trucks before moving here to Australia. Yeah, see a few Peterbilts and Kenworths and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that was pretty interesting. And it was actually Canada that gave me the bug to leave the UK, if I'm honest.
Oh wow, no way. Tell me about that. How what
So basically, we went to Canada. I think it was two because COVID. Yeah, we couldn't get out. We booked it for 2020, get out to 22. Anyway, we got there and we stayed with some family and just the pure beauty of Banff and just Canada in general was just in awe. I was just like, this is amazing. This place is beautiful. And then I remember just flying back to England and in Heathrow, getting out, and it was just pissing down with rain, rubbish all over the floor.
time to go. Time.
And then from that sort of time on, I was just bugging the missus about moving. We looked into moving to Canada, and then
Why did you choose Australia? I was going to ask you if Canada was on the roster too, but did you? So why did you finally went with Australia versus Canada? Weather, huh?
do you want my honest opinion, my answer, or do
Honest, because I know what you're going to say, and there's no filters in this podcast. So just,
you...
I think I know what you're going to say. I can help you if you under. No, go ahead.
Justin Trudeau?
Yeah, yeah, the politics, right? You're leaving
Yeah.
UK to a different messed up country.
Hey,
Yeah,
yeah, it was. I was just like, no, I can't do it. Like,
there's only so much beauty that you can be, attracted by, but then the rest of the things are gonna just suck equally, probably. Yeah.
yeah, and I
What about
know
you?
people will say. say in Australia, I didn't want to get into politics, but I know people say in Australia we've got a Labour government here and they're just as bad, blah, blah, but I don't know. Nothing can be as
But
bad as the UK.
you wow. Yeah, no, you're and I know I don't like politics too, and especially talking about politics, but it is affecting the quality of your life. I mean, we are at a point why I'm an immigrant, right? I came from communist Poland because of
Hmm.
politics. You know, that's why we move around because you're just like this is ridiculous. I mean,
Hmm.
and so I understand that and it's a difficult move, which I was gonna ask you, like, do you feel like are you homesick and do you feel like it was a good move?
I've had moments where I felt a little bit homesick, but generally I've rationalized things in my head and I know how much better off my children will be here and how much better off we are here. And I can sort of, yeah, come to terms with that. Like I miss my family like mad, obviously, but unfortunately, they're not gonna get my daughters into college and so on and so forth. Do you know what I mean? So I had to do what was best for them. And my missus has struggled a little bit, like the homesickness, missing the friends. She's had friends that just had babies and stuff, so she's really struggled with that at times. But she's definitely getting better. She also understands that, yeah, we made the right decision. It's just not an easy decision.
Yeah. So it's more of the homesickness rather than quality of life. The quality of life is what you expected, or is it different than what you expected?
It's definitely, yeah, what I expected in terms of, like I say, of how much extra
Everything
we
costs.
have. Like I say, there's a massive myth that it's the cost of living here is really expensive, and is similar, sort of on par with the UK in terms of when you look at food and expenses like that, but you're earning double. So it's like, well, actually, no, you're a lot better off.
I'm looking more
Does that make
for
sense?
happiness. Are you happier with that move? Are you happy there? Like you feel like your
Oh, for
life
sure. Yeah.
is
Yeah.
yeah.
Life is more cruisy, definitely more chilled. Like I felt like I was in a rat race in the UK. Just going into London every day in the rain,
Yeah.
miserable.
The weather gets you. I know. I love Europe, but that's one of my bigger things. I usually go in summer and
Yeah.
it's just you forget how sun is important to your mental state and until you live in a place where it's nonstop raining. Or Poland is you has beautiful summers, but the seasons are a lot more pronounced. You have spring that's a lot of rains, fall that is cold. And here, even in Chicago, you have such amazing spring and summer and fall that you're just like, then I go to Poland in the off season and it's just like, oh my God, it's so gloomy. And you spend a week or
Mm.
two and all of a sudden you feel a lot more depressed. So I hear you on that. Yeah.
This is another reason, like Canada, it wasn't just obviously that guy. It
Yeah.
was the
Yeah.
fact that the snow for 6 months of the year sometimes, like, and it's 40.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you, Sam, because I think you have now a good understanding maybe of the difference between how truckers are perceived in UK and Australia, between UK and Australia. Would you be able to dig into that? Like the overall, not only professionalism on the trucker side, but also what the view of a trucker is by the common public.
Yeah, so I don't know, in the UK, kind of on the road, people didn't really seem to have much time or respect in terms of letting you out or, just taking that little bit of time to just, be a bit more considerate for truck drivers because as we all know, sometimes it takes us a long time to pull out on a bloody road. And in the UK, it was just like, yeah, no, sorry, mate, see you later. Whereas here in Australia, people have a bit more time and they seem to get it, especially if you're coming along with two trailers. Maybe it's just the sheer size that gives the respect. I don't know, because the last thing you want to do is get wrapped underneath two trailers. But yeah, it seems to be a lot more respected here as a profession than in the UK, where you just kind of like you're an inconvenience to most people. You're in their way.
Interesting. Yeah. I feel like US has that little, I don't know. Well, during COVID, obviously every single trucker was a hero. Lately, the last three, 4 years, it's just been brutal because that's who got the beat up the most. I don't know if you follow what's happening in the US, but it's been a really terrible market for the last 4 years, just pure full on recession and freight and just really bad market to yeah, it's pretty bad. So and then the drivers are at the end of the stick and they're gonna get, you know you go from a hero to awesome, amazing truckers delivering our necessary things, and all of a sudden
Yeah,
it's just like the whole thing fell apart. We brought in a ton of drivers here that got their licenses just by showing up, and it's a little bit of the dynamic change. The drivers are frustrated because the pay isn't there, and it's just like this hopefully it seems like it's changing right now, but I wanted to touch on that with you because I feel like here the quality and the view of a trucker kind of deteriorated a little bit from at least from what I've been exposed to the
yeah,
industry, which is with the last 17, 18 years, right? So that's
yeah,
interesting that yeah, that Australia, I wanted to touch on that with you, but
yeah. I don't really know in terms of over east. Might be a bit different to here in Western Australia. Yeah, there's a lot less people here. Like you look at Western Australia, it's just under 3 million people in the whole of Western Australia. Whereas if you go over east, that's where 25 million, which is the rest of the population, are living.
exactly, yeah, because it's like 30 million, so it's like half as UK, right?
Yeah, literally half the UK, but 33 times the size.
Bigger, yeah. So it definitely feels a lot less crowded
hmm
for everybody, especially where you are. Yeah, because you're in the western part, right?
I'm in the southwest, which is quite nice as well. It's quite bit of change of climate. It's a bit more green than what you'd expect when you generally think of Australia. Obviously, most people just think like wasteland. But down here, there's a lot of farms of avocado plantations and orchards, you name it. It's all down in this area where it sort of comes from. But yeah, it's definitely quite picturesque. If you go and look at my videos, I'll probably be quite surprised how picturesque it is. Kind of reminds me a little bit of certain parts of the UK, especially in the winter.
Okay. And tell me, I want to touch quickly on trucks because you probably drove obviously cab overs, and what do you drive right now? What type of truck?
So I'm driving a Kenworth, and it's so bad. It escapes me which model it is.
Isn't it the T80 something, or you guys have those right? The T80 I think it is, or something like that. I forget, but is it a conventional truck or a cab over?
No, it's a conventional, yeah, like a American
Nose
Kenworth.
American. Yeah.
Yeah,
How's that?
nose,
How's that
yeah.
driving experience for you?
At first, I got in and I was like, I can't see nothing. But where's the view?
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, like little windscreen. The mirrors are smaller, and I was like, "Oh, this is a bit tricky." But then after a few days of driving it, especially with the roads here being so big, it was just like, "Oh, actually, this is quite nice and very comfortable, like compared to some of the trucks I've driven in the UK, like the Mercedes and all of them really, all
All
of
of
the
them,
cab
yeah. Oh, it's
overs.
same layout, same design, and Scanias
Yeah,
and the Volvos, they all feel a lot flimsier, although you see
yeah,
more, but it feels like you're just in a shaking box nonstop. It's not as stable,
yeah.
which then translates to the comfort, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's a good thing about Australia as well is that you have both. Like you have the European cab overs and the American trucks because you need the American trucks for the strength and durability of doing those long haul, especially when you're going in the outback and it's going to take a good batter and you need a tough American truck. Whereas if you're just going around the city, you need something that's a bit more durable, a bit more reliable in terms of city driving, I guess. Economical as well.
Yeah. So you've became almost like a roadmap for some truckers to do that move. What would you say? Like, what would you give as far as piece of advice to somebody that's thinking about doing that move, whether it's UK, Europe, or US?
Um, I think if you are really interested and you do want to come and work in Australia, if you're under the age of 35, this is what I say to most people, get over here on a working holiday visa. I don't know how easy it is if you're an American to get over here on a working holiday visa, but I know for most European countries it's quite easy. So I imagine it's probably be the same. I don't know. But yeah, if you get over here on a working holiday visa, get your license here, get working, see if you like it, and then 9 times out of 10, most companies here, if you're working for them, will try and sponsor you if they can.
Hmm. Okay. That's interesting. So would you say that you've been seeing more drivers doing that? Is there a trend that's happening in Europe maybe, or have you noticed anything like that?
Yes, so it's funny because it sort of started off, there was a group chat of me and it was about seven of us in this group, truck drivers. And out of the seven of us, there's now four of us from the group that are now in Australia.
Oh wow.
We were all in the UK, and I sort of started talking about moving to Canada. And then one of my mates got the bug and said, "Oh, sod this, I'm going to go give it a go over in Australia." He came over first, and then a couple of months later, another girl that was in the group, she came over on a working holiday visa. She got a sponsorship now. And then there's another guy that came over, and he's now got a sponsorship in Perth. So yeah, it's like bang, 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 four of us all here.
Interesting. That's awesome. That's great. I mean, yeah, that is something that, obviously US is a little bit of less of a I understand why Europeans would think about that with what's happening there, but I don't know how the rules work, but it's interesting how, you become part of this movement and all of a sudden people follow. And I feel like your channel, since it's growing, it's growing because of your not only the way you vlog and the way you shoot, which is really great, but the interest of, hey, is this something for me? Should I consider actually moving? Right? I feel like that's a growing interest from what I've heard.
Yeah, I think like I was one of these people that just used to think, oh, it's a bit of a dream. It'd be lovely to move to Australia, but I think it'd be far too complicated and something that I wouldn't be able to do. Like there's probably too much to it. And then when I see my friends coming over on these working holiday visas, which literally just cost them like £300 to get here, and then they had to have a certain amount in the bank, which was like it's like $5,000, something like that, just so they can support themselves. They got themselves jobs, and then before you know it, the boss is saying, oh, "We want to keep you," and then they're like, "Oh, okay, well, this is the route I need the sponsorship." And because there's a shortage on drivers, most of them were more than happy to do it. Some of them couldn't, like the girl, she came over and she was in Sydney, and because she wasn't in a regional area, they wanted to sponsor her, but they couldn't because there wasn't a shortage of demand in
Oh,
that area.
okay. So she would have to just move to a different region then and try to look for a sponsor there.
So that's what she's done. She's moved out to a place called Orange, which is a little like two hours inland, and she's got sponsorship there. So yeah,
Okay. Great. Tell me what's next for Sam. Where are you headed with everything?
it's a good question. And I was actually talking to the missus about this earlier because I'm very happy in what I'm doing right now in terms of I feel like this shift pattern is really suiting my lifestyle in terms of I actually get to see my children still, which I didn't really get to do in the UK. I saw them at the weekend, but I was so knackered. I barely got to do it. I'm actually starting to go to the gym now, which I never got to do in
Nice.
the UK. I'm starting to concentrate on myself and actually, yeah, enjoy life, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think I don't know the next chapter. I've said that I'd always like to get my own truck and do the owner operator thing, but then it sort of leads into time because I know that I'm not going to see my family half as much as I do now if I do take that avenue. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, I guess.
Yeah. And what about your channel? I mean, I want to encourage you to not only continue, but your vlogs are great, and you're going to continue doing that, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. YouTube is one of the main things that gets me up in the morning. Yeah, I get such a buzz from it. And I try and explain this to people, but people that don't do it don't really get it. I don't know. It's just a hobby that you just sort of get a little bit obsessed with. And yeah, I don't know. I just enjoy it. I enjoy making the content. It just started out as something that I was like, see how it goes. Just put a video up, and it sort of, yeah, slowly sort of building and building and building, and yeah, making
I
a little bit
think
of money from it. It's crazy.
Yeah, which is always good, and I think it's only gonna go up for you because I feel like your vlogging style is really good, and I always feel like you're right. People that don't create any type of content, it's to me it was always like you feel like you're just sharing your journey, but then somebody else enjoys it and learns from it, or maybe is interested in it. It just gives you a little bit more satisfaction from what you're actually doing, right? Because if you don't do
Yeah.
that, if you just think about not sharing your story, then you're just driving trucks and you're kind of alone. I think
Hmm.
when you're vlogging, you feel like you're with somebody. Would you
That's
agree?
true. Yeah. Yeah. It's a great pastime because obviously as truck drivers, we know we have a lot of time to, be on our own. So yeah, it definitely helps in that sort of aspect. Yeah, I also like being told by some of the old timers when I'm doing things wrong because I like learning. So I really enjoy it when I get these comments of like, not the arsey ones, like, oh, you're a dickhead, you can't do it, blah, blah, blah. The ones that are more like, look, mate, I've been doing this for 40 odd years. Just a bit of advice. If you did this and you did that, it'd make your life a lot easier. And then you just sort of go, fuck yeah, that's actually really helpful. I never thought of that before. Just like stupid things, like I'd never coupled up two trailers before, so to me it was all new. And I'm trying to get out the pin to release the pin from the trailer, and I was just like, it's just not coming, it's just not coming. And I've struggled and struggled on video, and I eventually got it out. And then one of the comments in the video was like, "Mate, just get yourself a ratchet strap, chuck it around the pin, and then you've got a bit more leverage because it's like right underneath. It's not like a normal one where it's sort
Yeah.
of out of it." And then yeah, I got the ratchet strap.
It's popped up right away, huh?
My whole
Yeah.
world just
Yeah.
like there's the things you just don't know because obviously you've not experienced it before. So yeah, it's
That's
definitely
awesome.
interesting.
That's interesting. Sam, so are you also on Instagram? Tell me your social media, where people can find you. And yeah, I know we have YouTube. Obviously, we talked about it, but where else can people find you?
Yeah, so YouTube is my main sort of one. I do have TikTok, which is slowly growing. Instagram, I try to post every now and then, but I'll be honest with you, I don't like it. And I'm trying to grow my Facebook at the moment, which is something I never really concentrated on, but it's something I'm definitely getting more into now. So yeah, you can find me on pretty much any one of those.
Okay. Truck It Pale, appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time and sharing your experience. I think it's going to be helpful to some other drivers. And yeah, appreciate it. Have a good night. I know it's late at where you're at, and we'll talk soon.
Quarter to 11 here. Yeah, thank you, mate. No, I appreciate it. It's been good. Yeah, maybe I'll see you again sometime in the future.
Join our free trucking community at trucku.com.